Welcome back. If you just joined us, you are watching the Power Breakfast Show live on Citizen TV. This being the newspaper review. We are in the third session now, and we continue taking a look at some of the stories making headlines in the newspapers. We're taking a look at the Standard, page 12. Raila's latest onslaught against poll agency over relaying of results, of course, with less than 28 days to the elections, this being some of the big stories that Kenyans will continue to discuss over the next few days. And some of the story reads as follows. The National Super Alliance has launched another onslaught against the Electoral Commission. This time the tussle is about the complementary system for voter identification and transmission of results. And briefly, the article also says the opposition coalition, in a fresh suit, has moved to court complaining that the IEBC has not put in place the system and that there was no public participation in the whole process. Before we took the break, Honorable Fasime wanted to dive into this discussion as well as we talk about the IEBC, Jubilee, NASA, and the courts as well. I can allow you to make a contribution now.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that we need not to make or bring a notion that IEBC is incompetent. I think we have seen scenarios where an institution attacks IEBC, then we don't give IEBC an opportunity to respond for themselves. You know, for example, right now that issue of even the government hitting on the judiciary because of an alleged conspiracy, I think IEBC, the way I've watched them, these guys are competent enough to defend themselves. And if we can allow them to do that, then this notion of being sponsored, because the other day Justice Maranga was being accused by the opposition. Now it's the government accusing. I think Mheshimiwa just talked about the pressure of work. We are subjecting some of these leaders to unnecessary pressures. So why don't we allow them to do their job, be it the government or NASA? Why don't we let IEBC answer the questions when Maranga says something? Why don't we do the same and vice versa? So my thinking is the reason as to why we are not having things move is created. You know, they say politics is about perception, and these perceptions are being created when you assume you know the answer I have, yet I exist, and you don't allow me that opportunity to answer for myself, and I'm the one who is tasked with that particular responsibility. So you are reading politics into all this? Yeah, and we should allow these institutions to do their job. I think we are all in agreement. We should allow institutions to do their job.
I'll come to that one to say that in the issue, okay, fine. In the issue of public participation, which is the base of the judgment, or just affected the presidential ballot. As a layman, and don't remember public participation for the other positions. So to me, I think that judgment, in my own personal opinion, was not very inclusive. It was actually specific for the presidential ballot. So if you want to give public participation, if the law calls for public participation for the presidential ballot printing or the process, then I'm sure it should also provide for the same public participation for the governors, the MCAs, the MPs and senators.
Will you not open a Pandora's box?
Yeah, that you say it should open because we are asking for infinite justice. So justice is expensive. So now we are going for a meeting today. For the principal going for a meeting today. So tomorrow the governors can come and say, now you won't be consulted.
You are contradicting what Honorable Fasime is saying in that he feels that leave institutions now to do their work. And I wanted to bring
I'm not contradicting because I'm just saying
yes,
that case to me was unwarranted.
Okay, yeah. Okay, you want to leave it at that. Let me hold you for 1 minute.
Okay.
Allow him to come in. He says institutions should be left to do their work, and I want to pose that to you. I mean, last time we had you here, someone accused you of holding brief for NASA. I'm not going to be the one to do that, but I want to ask you then. I want to pose that to you. You know, as NASA, what would you say to a statement that he's made? That leave at this point, with the number of days we have to the elections, leave IEBC, and I would even ask anyone who's holding brief for Jubilee, leave the judiciary, let them do their jobs.
Yes. You know, leadership comes with a lot of responsibilities. And as a leader, a good one, Wahiga, and other gentlemen on this panel today, you cannot see something going wrong as a leader and you keep quiet about it. I think it would be extremely irresponsible. You've just heard from Brian Weke, who is an elections expert, how important elections are. Yes, it is a one-day event. We agree that. But that one day could decide whether this country is going to survive or this country is going to break down. It's very important for us, and especially the institutions that are mandated to make sure this election is free, fair and credible, to be extremely neutral and have one goal only, to make sure things are done the right way. Now, IEBC is an institution. If you see that institution clearly breaking the law in some of its work, as NASA that has very responsible leadership, how do we sit down and watch and say let these institutions do their work? Number one, they went and said that the tallying is going to be done in Nairobi centrally, which was against the law. There's actually a law that says that all election results will be announced and will be final at the constituency level. So you can't break the law and keep quiet. So we went to court and we won the case. There is now this case that we have just won again on the presidential. To answer my friend Bwana Barua, how courts operate is they rule according to the prayers that you, who is the plaintiff, has put in place. And when NASA went to court, they went to court with a complaint about the printing of the presidential ballots.
So the court
look into any other issues. Not looking, you did not pray for it. You're not aggrieved about the governors and the senators, you're aggrieved about the presidential ballot. And that's why the courts ruled on the presidential ballot.
Okay.
And that's how the law.
I need to bring that into this, but I know you've been looking for my attention. Let me give you a minute to.
Okay, I think firstly, when I meant that institution, what I meant by saying institutions should be allowed to do their job, it's not that NASA or Jubilee should not go to court.
Should they have grievances?
Should they have grievances, they should go. But then nobody should answer for IBC or the judiciary. That's basically what I said, because basically the political parties are oversight. They give oversight. So basically they should take every action they feel should be taken. But when it comes to answering, let IBC answer for themselves. Let the judiciary answer for themselves. And in any case, if I were the one to be used, even if it was not a prayer of the presidential, we are all aware that the printing of the other ballot papers is at an advanced stage, but the presidential had not started. And I want to believe the rationale for this desire to have somebody else print. You know, there is a correlation in mathematics. There is going to be a correlation between the votes casted for all the other positions and the ones casted for the presidency. So the reason why some people want different people to print, so that when we are doing correlation, if there is no add up, then we know. And since there will be unlikely conspiracy between the person printing for the presidency and the others, then it gives a higher confidence that if Wahiga printed this one and Karismei printed the others, and they have no relationship, then if one overprinted, then we'll be able to know when we are adding up. So I think that's the confidence which is being looked for, is that let's see whether what is printed in Dubai and whatever is going to be printed, whenever it will add up later on. But let all the political parties take the step. And I'm glad they're having confidence in going to court. But let nobody answer for these other institutions because they have the capacity.
Okay, Brian, hold on, Robo. He says let no one answer for these institutions. With such few days to the elections, how much time can these institutions take responding to every politician who will issue a press conference, you know, poking holes about the credibility of those institutions? What would be advice to the Chief Justice, to the chairperson of the IEBC, when we know clearly over the next few weeks they will constantly be called upon to answer regards to one matter or the other?
I think key things. Number one, these institutions are provided for in the Constitution. And they are well capable of dealing with those mandates. But also, let's be honest with each other. These institutions have to act within the law. These institutions have to be held accountable.
Okay.
You know, you also do not operate in a vacuum.
Exactly.
If your IBC, if you look at chapter 51 of the Constitution, it is very clear on their role. But that role has to be done in accordance with the Constitution and the legislations that we have in this country. And I want to agree with Parsime. These institutions are capable of dealing with their mandates. So let politicians not speak on their behalf. Because when the opposition questions the capability and the ability of the IBC, you hear the government being headed by executive, the president and the deputy, speaking on behalf. They are not spokesmen. When you hear the judiciary being questioned, you find somebody else speaking on their behalf. So there is that perception that this institution is closer to this side and this institution is closer to this side. Now I also want to school my brother Njogu Barua.
Yes.
School him then and this I want to do as a lawyer.
Okay.
The court does not work
and
act suo moto. It only acts based on what has been presented.
That's what he has said, yeah.
And by the way, one of the key issues that was being deciphered in that particular case was, are we talking about all ballot papers or only the presidential ballot paper? And the court and the players came to an agreement that we are only discussing the presidential ballot paper. So again, and by the way, what you're saying, which is also right, governors, whichever player who feels that there is a problem,
go to court.
They can actually go to court, and it is constitutional as it is provided for. Now I want to come back to the issue of the register, Wahiga, because that is
that he can also get
absolutely, because that is where now I can tell you for a fact we are headed to another serious discussion because of the register. And not only the register but the results transmission system. Now you and I know very well that we have a big problem in this country for collection of data of dead people. You cannot tell us that only 92,000 people have died since the last election. And I think successive governments do this deliberately. Many times people die and you actually don't go and register those deaths. But we have a proper system that we can create to collect the deaths. Now, how sure are you, Wahiga, that dead people will not wake up from the Langata cemetery, which is under Mweke and Kidero, and come to vote in the next election?
The IBC chairperson has spoken about this in detail. A team from the IBC was here last week on our studio.
Now let me tell you,
their system.
Those are good stories. Those are good stories that you speak in detail. Now let me tell you how we will weed out that. You cannot come and give us assurance that I want to assure you dead people will not wake up, because they do wake up. So you cannot come and say as a matter of saying that you will assure. And that's why, for me, if you ask me, the way we're going to root out these dead people not to come back and vote, we have to do electronic voter identification. Because only
no manual backup.
Wachana na hiyo vitu bwana. The way the people come to vote is because of that manual backup. We want IBC to tell us that they can only create a complementary system that seeks to identify you electronically. That is how a dead man will not come out and vote. But if you want to give us some manual story and some manual explanation, I can assure you, even Jacob Juma will come and vote.
My goodness.
Yes.
Honorable. Are you sure he can come out and vote?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yes, I just want.
These are not the sentiments of this show. These are the sentiments of Brian.
I would say I
respond because we need to move on to another topic.
I want to say I appreciate you as a lawyer, and I know you've gone to your property school. But I want to say my issue was this. I'm not saying that the court should give a ruling or not. It's not pleaded for. But I'm saying I said that case was not warranted because it was not comprehensive. I think it was self-preserving. There was a case of self-preservation. Why did they choose, whoever went to court, that's NASA? Why did NASA choose to go to court and ask for public participation of one position? They should have actually been of use to other people, like governors and other people, MPs and women rep and so forth, so that we can have one comprehensive case to have a situation, to avoid a situation whereby another lot of you can go to court tomorrow and say now you also want public participation. That case, if it's presented today or tomorrow, it can take another 2-3 weeks to take as just the election. That's what I'm saying. The issue which NASA has to raise, or Jubilee has to raise, if you have to go, we shall have elections in August, should be presented today in that consultative meeting which is being held by IBC. So we avoid a situation whereby we shall have another related case after tomorrow, after the day after tomorrow. So that this country can hold elections. The other thing is coming out clearly is that survival of this nation. The survival of this nation depends on all of us, and the lack of survival of this nation affects all of us. So let's have politics of fear. Let's have politics of justice and fairness.
Okay, thank you so much. We will put that matter to rest for now. IEBC preparedness, big topic, lots and lots to discuss in regards to that. And of course, on Citizen TV, we'll continue to follow the developments, even today as the IEBC meets presidential candidates, 8 of them, to discuss the way forward on some of these issues as well. But let's take a look at what I want to believe is good news, especially after we've discussed a lot of somber topics in line with what has happened this weekend and politics as well. But away from politics now, page 3 of the Daily Nation. Kenya all set for Athletics Gold Rush. Excitement is building up ahead of the 10th edition of the Athletics World Under-18 Championships on Wednesday. Kicks off on Wednesday at the Moi International Sports Complex, Kasarani. Close to 2.5 billion Kenya shillings. The Deputy Governor will explain to us how that has been spent. Has been pumped into this project with various things put in place in regards to that. I also want to let you know that I believe this is the first one to be held in Africa, and one of the biggest in Kenya as well. And when a Deputy Governor, you have played a key role in bringing this event to Kenya. Briefly explain to us how we got to hosting this and whether we are all set for such a global event.
Yeah, it's something that's very close to my heart because I've been working on it on behalf of Nairobi County for the last 2.5 years. We went in and put a bid as Nairobi with background help from the national government to come and host the IAAF Under-18 here in Nairobi. And that bid was done in November of 2017. So went out to Monaco, did a bid on behalf of the city, and we won the bid against Argentina and the United States. Those were the 2 countries we were competing with. And it's a very elaborate process. You have to prove that your country has the infrastructure to do it. Your country is able to be safe. The city that's holding it has proper leadership in place to be able to put something like this together, has proper ICT infrastructure, has proper lighting systems, has proper transport systems, and has a proper facility to do it. Hence the 2.5 billion shillings you're saying there. Let me put it for you in perspective, Wahiga. Right now, and we welcome all the athletes and stakeholders that are coming into the city. This week, we're going to have over 2,000 young athletes in Nairobi from 156 countries, and we're going to be live for the next 6 days on 200 TV stations around the country. That's how glamorous this event is. We needed to completely renovate the stadium, the Safaricom Stadium in Kasarani, to bring it up to international standards so that all these 156 countries who are bringing their athletes to come and compete in this IAAF World Athletics Championship are able to complete that in an environment that is befitting to their standards. We also have to house these 2,000 athletes. When you count the media, some of them are it's an under 18, so some of them are as young as 16, so they come with their parents. So you're going to have about 5,000 visitors in Nairobi this week. What that does is we had to put them up in a 3-star hotel. Okay. We've actually built, with part of that 2.5 billion shillings, hostels which are of 4-star rating at Kenyatta University, where the village will be. So it's a very, very important event for Kenya. It's the second one in Africa.
The second one in Africa.
Yeah, the first one was in Morocco.
Okay.
And I also want to say that it is the last under-18 IAAF championship that will ever be held. So it's been a journey. We won the bid in 2014.
I was hoping you'd mention the traffic plan.
Yes, I will.
Okay.
In 2015.
Because the numbers you're giving already,
I will.
The city struggled.
Yes, I'm going to give you a little history first. In 2015, I traveled to Cali in Colombia to go and get the flag, the IAAF flag, because the last
previous edition
was there, and Kenya came number 2 behind the United States in that championship, so I was very proud of that. And then later in 2015 we went to China, Beijing, where we had the World Athletics Championship to do benchmarking to make sure that Kenya can host such an event at that level, which we've been able to do, as you can see. And Kenya came #1. We are the world champions in athletics as we speak.
That's right.
Traffic management, that's why we put it off Thika Road in Kasarani. And it is right across the street from the stadium, which is Kenyatta University. We have shuttle buses that will be shuttling the athletes to and fro. They'll be coming in, having their breakfast at the village in Kenyatta University, going out to compete and headed back. So the whole traffic cycle has been done.
So users on Thika Road should not expect disruption.
Yeah, should not expect much disruption.
There's a school of thought that the 2.5 billion that was invested in this project could have been used on potentially a new stadium.
Yes.
How will you respond to that?
Yes, it's true that could happen theoretically, and that is where the promise of Jubilee to build 5 new stadiums, one of them being in Nairobi, was such a failure to us. Because if that stadium had started being built on 2013, when I went with other officials to Monaco to bid for these games to come to Nairobi, would have been bidding on that new stadium that Jubilee built or was supposed to build. But since they didn't, we had to opt for the next best stadium we have, which is the one that was built 30 years ago for the All Africa Games that happened in 1987.
But the county government did not have any plans in their manifesto for a new stadium, did they?
No, we did not.
Okay.
Just
confirming.
No, we did not. So I'm just taking this opportunity on behalf of the governor of Nairobi and the county government of Nairobi to welcome all the people into the city. It is safe, it's dynamic, the culture is good, the people are fantastic. Enjoy the sights and the sounds of Nairobi. And we are telling all Nairobians, even people from other counties, that our hashtag for this week is Tukutane Kasa.
Tukutane
so
Kasa.
Let's all go and meet in Kasarani and give our young people the support they need, cheer them on as they compete in this World Athletics.
Good. I need to take a break quickly, but let me just give each of my guests a chance, apart from you, to quickly talk about this event. And of course, some may feel that it is overshadowed by the political season that we are in. You'll be surprised, many Kenyans don't know it's happening. Brian, we could start with you. Brief statements even as we wind up the segment.
Thank you. I think, Wahiga, I know this is something very close to your heart as well. I think I want to thank the Deputy Governor for really ensuring that we host this last event. And that's the reason why sometimes I say, I wonder who is the governor. You know, Jonathan should actually be the governor of Nairobi. And not his boss.
Propaganda, propaganda
if you have a brilliant governor like Jonathan, I think this Nini would actually move ahead. So I think I just want to thank the Nairobi County for winning this bid. But you know why we have a problem in this country, and the problem is poor planning. We have a theory called the popcorn approach. You know, when the popcorn is hot, it pops. When it is cold, it is relaxed. Do you know what 2.5 billion can do for us in terms of building a stadium? And you know, again, it's the same theory being propagated, where you want to make money at any given juncture. Because 2.5 billion refurbishing of hostels in KU and the stadium, you know,
although they've constructed it, can you confirm construction or refurbishment? Refurbishment. Okay, you're right. Yes. Carry on.
They've not constructed. They've refurbished. You know, Waiga, and that's why sometimes it's extremely important to plan, because if you would have planned better. And based on the manifesto that Jubilee gave us, and they were very clear that they'll build 5 stadiums, and one of them would actually be in Nairobi. And this was an opportunity. The allocation was there, the money was there, the motive was there. You know, sometimes I wonder how we run this country. But even if you look at me badly, you know, 5 million can change the lives of our.
Could we have built a stadium in that time.
I want to show Weke, I was just paying attention to what you're saying.
Yes.
In fact, I was looking for you very positively. Because I'm even amazed by the statement you have made, which I think I agree with.
Yes.
That Governor Kidero is not a good governor for Nairobi. You have said that Mweke could be a better governor.
10 times.
10 times. So it means that the choice of governor now of Nairobi is open. Because the man we have is not competent, he has not solved traffic issues, wastage issues. I will give you But also that Dan, I also find it interesting for my friend Mweke here to Weke to blame Jubilee for not putting up a stadium in Nairobi, and then he goes ahead and says a stadium was not a priority for a county government, and you had your own 2.5 billion to do it, you'd have done it. So the issue here I have is that, and I looking at you like that because of really supporting us, is because the planning was poor. First of all, I want to congratulate the Nairobi County and Kenya for winning that bid. It's good for Kenya, that's for sure. And I want to welcome all the visitors who are going to be here. They enjoy this country. I want to also say that Nairobi does not exist in a vacuum. Nairobi is in Kenya. You cannot have won that bid without the name of the country. I mean, utopian city winning a bid is unreasonable. It's for the general good. You're even telling the visitors go and tour Mount Kenya, tour Mount Elgon. They are touring Kenya, they're not touring in Nairobi. So let us not have these more microclimates which cannot help this nation. What I want to say is that Mweke, let Nairobi plan it properly. Let us not keep on bashing Jubilee for what it should not be bashed for. Even look at yourself inside. Have what is called external, internal validity of anything, so that you can be able to be of value to this nation.
Thank you. I think your point has been clearly. Let me bring you onto this as well.
Yeah.
We're hosting this big event. We are a couple of days to the election, so of course I feel that might also affect the attendance, but also some questioning the preparation and the allocation of funding as well, that it could have gone to something else.
One of the reasons why I'm looking forward to going to Parliament is because I want us to separate politics and the economy of the country. What do I mean? We should be able to reach a situation where even if there is politics going on, other events of the nation should be able to continue, such that we do not insinuate because we have politics going around, we are around the corner in terms of election, that other activities of the country should actually wait for politics. That's how we are harming our economy.
True.
I'm an expert in construction, and I want to say there is a big difference between refurbishment and construction.
Okay.
Refurbishment is more expensive than construction.
Okay.
And refurbishment is both fixed and immovable, because it includes even buying the furniture and all that. This is basically about interior decor and all these kind of things. So basically, I think that's why sometimes it is good to have full information about some of these things. I am not saying that 2.5 is very little money, but I want to bring in to the limelight that actually refurbishment is more expensive than actual construction. Bricks and mortar, that's why you are even told the actual construction of a new structure costs about 30-40%. 60% is on the finishes. So, and when he's talking about refurbishment, it's actually about finishes. So I think I don't want to demonize without having the details, but I want to say that refurbishment always, and the reason why our country is in a dilapidated manner, even in our own houses, people have no budget for replacing window panes which are broken, and that's why our country deteriorates. That's why we have bad roads, because people have not had that sense of refurbishment and maintenance. So I think if it actually dawns on us about it, then we will be able to appreciate it.
So you feel refurbishing Kasarani was a better option than...
Not in terms of a better option. I think I was coming in terms of, is it value for money? Value for money. That's why I was saying.
You are supporting...
But in terms of whether we should have constructed another one or not, I leave that one to the deputy governor, because I don't even know whether he had the site to be able to construct a new one. So that's really to him. But I just wanted to demystify that notion that this is too much money. It depends on what amount and level of interior decor and refurbishment has gone into it. Somebody has to look at the details of the drawings and all that to be able to assess.
We really need to wind up, but it's not fair without giving the deputy governor a chance to respond.
Not even just to respond, but to just give a little more information. And I really respect the words of Mr. Pasimei, because it's very progressive in his thinking. You know, first of all, let's just be clear that if Nairobi was not in the hands of good leadership, this event would not have come here. The bidding was extremely thorough, and they look at through several things. The first one being governance. Is the leadership in Nairobi competent enough to host an event, international event like this? This is why it's called Nairobi 2017 Barua and not Kenya 2017.
That's why you say you are competent.
You are the one that wins the bid.
It's a city. It's all about the city, and that is not me. That is IAAF.
But Michael said you are competent. You don't. Your competence is not in doubt. So allow him to finish. Let me protect him. Allow him to finish. Go ahead, Deputy Governor.
So that's that. Number two, the biggest quality of a leader is in delegation. And for Governor Kidero to delegate something as major as this to his deputy just shows how much of a good leader he is. Some other governors would have said this thing is too important to Nairobi, I must do it myself. But Governor Kidero is very confident as a leader that he was able to delegate this to his deputy to say, hey, you are the guy who likes these youth things. Run away with it. And I'm happy I was able to deliver it on behalf of the governor and on behalf of the county. So it's upside down to what Barua and Weke are saying. Because of the good leadership of the governor of Nairobi, Dr. Evans Kidero. What level was able to see the vision to delegate this to
What level of preparation are we at?
I'm going to inspect this today, actually, probably with the governor. I'll check with his schedule. But we are completely ready for the event.
90%, 70%?
No, we are 100%. The delegates have already started coming in. The opening ceremony is the day after tomorrow, Wahiga. Okay. On the 12th.
You're still not convinced, Brian?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, even.
No, let me give me 1 more minute.
1 more minute, okay.
Two very important things about this event. Number one, the direct benefit for this country in terms of the amount of spend these 5,000 people will spend here in Nairobi and in Kenya. Barua, you're right, some of them might go to in Masai Mara.
I think there's a
and whatever, yeah. So it's the country actually that's going to be in the spotlight. We're going to be gaining directly 2.5 billion shillings. 2.5. Yeah, in these 6 days. The amount of spend that all these visitors are expected to spend here. So, and it will be everywhere from the high-end hotels to the Masai markets where they'll go and buy Masai shukas and sandals and other curios. So it's going to trickle down to the very bottom pyramid. It's an extremely good thing economically for our country. Indirectly, because we're going to be beamed live in 200 countries around the world. Yeah, the entire world's eyes will be in Kenya. And as they showcase how beautiful a country this is, we expect 100 billion shilling benefit from people now wanting to come into Kenya from how they see we have hosted this event. So it's an event of a very high magnitude. There's something we've not spoken about, the timing of this event. It's coming in 28 days to the election. For me, I think it's perfect because the country right now is completely divided. There's Jubilee, there's NASA, everybody's at each other's necks. This is a great thing for us because if there's one thing that brings the country together, is sports. When our athletes are out there running marathons, you find everybody in the political divide cheering. And this is what's going to happen today. Kenya has a very strong under-18 team. Everybody is going to come together. In fact, we expect that this is going to be the only public event where the NASA leader, Raila Odinga and Kalonzo Musyoka, and the president, who's the Jubilee leader, are going to rub shoulders at the opening ceremony, which is this coming Wednesday on the 12th. So Kenyans will be able to see the president and the opposition leader sit together, hug, laugh, shake hands as they are cheering one team called Team Kenya. So for you, it's a fantastic timing for it to come at this time, just to remind Kenyans that we are one Kenya, one people, and all that matters is our patriotism.
I think there's so much that we could have discussed about the World Youth Championships, but we really need to take a break now. Thank you so much to all my panelists who've taken time to come here and be with us. From my immediate right, Brian Weke, political analyst. Asante sana. Nairobi Deputy Governor Jonathan Mweke, taken time to explain to you why you need to get out on Wednesday and attend Tukutane Kasa. The hashtag is what he's talking about. We'll have him on next week, Monday again, and now take a look at the event that was and successes and where there were challenges or failures We'll also pose those questions to him as well. MP aspirant Kajiado North, Francis Pasime, thank you so much for bringing unique insight to this discussion. And Jogu Barua, Member of Parliament Gishogo, always a pleasure having you on the program.
Thank you.
We'll take a short break now, but the Power Breakfast show is not over. We've got some music and some other interviews. Keep it Citizen TV.